Soccer in St. Louis is as much about today as it is about tomorrow. The gateway and a beacon for the beautiful game in America's heartland. Players who captured your imagination, teams that emboldened your passion. A tapestry of tales, young and old. In 2014, an idea became iconic. Since then, this field is washed away, so you built it again because you've loved and lost before. There have been agonizing defeats and victories that became legendary, and ever-present Louligan smoke billowing skyward in colors of green and blue, unifying of many, one voice, resilient, triumphant. This book has pictures worth a million words, memories to last a lifetime from the team that won your heart, for better or for worse. But it also ends poetically. Tonight is all that's guaranteed for St. Louis FC. A story culminating like an epic of old with a simple but emphatic outcome. Win or go home. Young soccer players dream of nights like tonight. Do or die. St. Louis FC needs a win. Indy 11 a win or a draw to seal the final place in the playoffs out of this uber-competitive group. From West Community Stadium in Fenton, today's match is brought to you by the Cheshire Inn in LHM Hotel. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, Lou City handily win the group. Indy and St. Louis competing for the second and final spot.
We're not exactly sure who they're even going to play come postseason time, but that does not matter. If you're St. Louis FC, a draw doesn't do anything. You have to get 3 points. Indy 11 do have a little bit of a grace period there. They can get out of here with a draw and still move in to one of the final 16. Mike, there are times in your career where it's going to be difficult. Your back's up against the wall. Can this moment define you, or do you define the moment?
Tonight's player to watch, brought to you by Regions Bank. Sam Fink, appearance number 150 in the championship.
Has an opportunity tonight to go over 13,000 career minutes within the championship. And that gives you an idea of not only the tenure here, but also the fact that he's regularly leading his teams. Whether St. Louis or OKC, this is a guy who you look to in the dressing room. He's vocal. He leads by performance. He is the one that can help push this team to victory and beyond.
Meanwhile, Indy 11, they've been scuffling of late. How do they turn that around?
Struggling for sure. 1-3-1, only 2 wins in their last 9, and you have to go all the way back to that Pittsburgh game where they were 10 men in the second half to get a result against a playoff quality team. And it needs to be better in terms of distribution. Diversify your options moving forward. Can you find a way to start to spread this thing out a little bit, because they have become a bit one-dimensional? Everybody knows the talent that is Tyler Pasher, but there's other guys here that can get the job done too, Mike. You have Cam Lindley. You want to come off the bench, you've got Andrew Carlton. Nick Moon up top has been pretty good all season long. The wingbacks are the key to this system. Usually you have Howarth and you have Ioze. That is not the case tonight, but you've also got the USL Championship shutout leader in the likes of Evan Newton in between the pipes. Not a bad look defensively.
Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Schlafly. Here's the 11 for St. Louis FC. Wharton and Fink are back.
Blackwood, Wharton, Fink. Those are the 3 changes, Mike, but more noticeably, look at the system. Steve Tritchu's going into 3-back once again. He's going to utilize these wingbacks, find a way to lock it up defensively, but more importantly, they got to get this thing running downhill. This is a team that likes to go with momentum early. If they can go out and nick a goal in the opening 15, 20 minutes, I like their chances really, really well.
Here we go. In this group, it has gone down to the final day. The floodlights are on, and when they go off, they may not go on again. St. Louis FC, Indy 11 for a playoff spot. Kickoff when we return.
This year we developed Ale d'Or, which is a beer brewed exclusively for the St. Louis Football Club. We've been partners with STLC for coming up on 3 years now. St. Louis Football Club got some Schlafly, call out our Louligan friends on the side. You'll be able to find Ale d'Or obviously out at Soccer Park and then at your local grocery in and around St. Louis, so we're really excited to get it out there in the market. We're excited to debut it in 16-ounce cans for the upcoming season.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to the electricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
A moment to come together between the players of Indy 11 and St. Louis FC for inclusivity, diversity, and standing together against social injustice. It's a moment these teams come together before a defining game for their 2020 seasons. Incredible roller coaster rides. We're underway from Fenton, Missouri. Winner goes to the playoffs. A draw and Indy is through. A game with all the implications you'd hope for on the last day of the season. And an early foul. Devin, try and take me into the mind of a player in a moment like this where you've worked so hard during the quarantine period into the restart over the course of the last 3 months to put yourself in a position to still be relevant tonight.
Outside of the quarantining and COVID issues, I've actually been through situations like this. And it all starts from your manager. It starts in the dressing room, from the training ground, where there are so many moving parts to this, Mike. You have to find a way to slow it down, create some tunnel vision for your team, and focus on the task at hand. Because for St. Louis, it's easy to go, this could be our last game at home, this could be our last game ever, no more West Community, no more St. Louligans, but that's not the case right now. You still have a chance to go and continue forward. For Indy 11, yes, you're struggling in terms of results coming in. Overall form hasn't been terrible, but they've got to find a way to evolve. Martin Rennie knows that. Spoke with him personally, said, listen, we've got some ideas. We'll get into that as the game progresses. But both of these coaches know what's at stake. To be honest, it comes down to execution. Everything that you've done so far has led up to this moment. Now it's just time to go out and perform.
Indy 11 onto the ball, and they're trying to spring through Nick Moon. Let's take a look at tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by Greenlight. Provide the keys for your child's financial independence with a Greenlight debit card.
Steve Tritchu does feel like the system to match the system, so him rotating into a 3, trying to overload the midfield, but still keep proper width to challenge that, which Martin Rennie has brought to West Community, is the key to success. They need to press Pasher. You have to push him off the ball, put numbers and bodies there. A guy that carries just over 70% of the goals in his back pocket, you push him off his game, the numbers are in your favor. Last but not least, simple, win at all costs. Find a way, even if it pushes you out of your comfort zone, even if it's not pretty, you have to find a way to go get 3 points.
Guy at Bend did well to push that further. Blackwood, an early tussle with Carl Howarth. Carl we met to throw. Howarth in, Ioze available off the bench, dealing with an injury. Andrew Carlton available off the bench for Indy 11 as we go forward tonight. This little give and go with G trying to execute. Ball over the top, aimed at Blackwood. And you mentioned it, Evan Newton, record holder in all the records you want to hold as a goalkeeper in this league.
If you ever watch with Indy 11, Evan Newton doesn't necessarily have a boatload of work to do, but he always makes these massive moments shine throughout the match. It's those one or two key saves, the strike from distance, ball out in traffic. He carries a massive amount of confidence within him, understands his abilities, and he's willing to step himself out when need be.
Steve Tritchu, first year as the head coach, the 55-year-old said that on Wednesday night, he asked his wife, "What can I clean around the house?" Took the phone away, got an update at halftime, and eventually it was with a hug and the phone being handed over by his wife that he knew tonight was going to matter.
Hug and a smile, plus he got a little pat on the back for how well he did the dishes. It's an impressive story by Steve Tritchu that, he said, quite honestly, I couldn't watch it.
Attack on here for Indy. Pasher racing through. He's slowed down his goal-scoring acumen of late. He's got 9 on the season. Paddy Barrett goes to work. Sam Fink. 155 games in the USL Championship for Sam Fink. This is his 144th in a St. Louis uniform, including the Open Cup. And who can forget the Open Cup? Lindley pushes it forward, taken away by Kavita. Blackwood pressuring Newton. You do hear the drum corps is back tonight in the corner. Finally some noise in this venue again. Steve Tritchu told us this week just how bad he feels that fans can't enjoy a night like this in the venue, but certainly hope they'd be enjoying it throughout the St. Louis area. And I think this is the kind of match that has the neutral viewer quite involved as well.
It has to be, Mike. It has to be the marquee matchup around the entire USL Championship, and I'm not taking anything away from all of the games that are going on, whether it be tonight or, of course, Sunday. You and I were talking, 16 fixtures on the weekend. 13 have direct implications on a first-round seeding, and as the number 1, you could jump into the number 2. There could be a flip-flop, but, of course, this one is the big one. It's the win and get in for St. Louis FC, who have found a way to knock off the likes of Indy 11 and Louisville City this year. And a team like Indy 11, who, just remember, a few short weeks ago, this was a team, including myself, that was on the tip of everybody's tongues of one of the best in the USL Championship. On paper, they can still achieve that for sure. Just struggling right now to find results in the final third. Good build-up, good defensive play. It's the little moments where you've seen some slip-ups. Can you secure those and find a way to grab a goal on the road? That's the key here for Martin Rennie's boys.
Blackwood trying to break through. The whistle blows. Carl Howarth dips to ground immediately. Blackwood shown a yellow for that. And that's early in the match for a moment like that.
A yellow card.
It's surprising 7 minutes in on. It's not a malicious foul. Of course he makes contact. I give him that, but he's actually trying to steer this quick counter, go to goal. Little back heel off the right foot, spring and attack. Usually they give you a grace period, but I guess we already said grace.
A referee tonight actually made a little bit of history last week. Tori Penso was the center referee for an MLS game, the first woman to hold that role in 20 years, and a very well-respected official across a wide variety of leagues and games and levels. Wharton, one of the 2 sent off last time these teams met in Indianapolis. He and Fink both shown second yellows. Wharton's probably the more egregious. Didn't look like the first yellow was much of one at all. Sprayed forward for Greg. Circles back to Kavita. In the end, that game finished 1-1. St. Louis held on for dear life. That's why we're playing a game of this magnitude tonight. Driven forward by Fink, headed down here. Greg. Collected here by Indy 11. Look at the injury report coming into this game. Oscar Umar out for the year. Jeremy Gagnon-Lapere probably would have slotted in this position right here, a wingback. Instead, Cicerone gets that call. How surprising was that to you?
Given the fact that Steve Tritchu was committed to this system, it's not that surprising because he's been such an influence on this squad moving forward. So you have to find a way to get him on there. And you have to understand that also, it's really one of the first times in the three-back system that you're getting Kavita, Fink, and Adewale. That was important as well, and you and I talked about that all the way back in July on resumption of play. But with Cicerone, the question is, defensively, how much responsibility is he going to have? You've got the talented backline for sure that can help you out. And the fact that Manuel Kavita over there doesn't hurt. But they're going to have to find a way to really allow him to work in about a 55-yard pocket. They don't necessarily want him dropping too deep because that's where their bread and butter is. They get the ball out in front of him, a lot of speed. For him to make those types of runs and then turn around and track back against the likes of Tyler Pasher, Carl Howarth, Nick Moon, that's a really difficult ask and something to watch as the game goes on. Bit different on Paris G's side, of course, because he defensively can sit and then, of course, spring the other way. He won't play as much of an advanced role for St. Louis FC tonight.
Well, Martin Rennie can't be too happy about this. Patty Barrett had a little trouble getting that away. Greg's pressure forces the corner here. It's Todd Wharton driving this long, very long. Floated back. Kavita tries to force his way in. And now can Indy 11 counter into space. Cicerone circles. And Lindley gave chase.
It's a really impressive shape so far from Indy 11. That, you know, they tend to fluctuate one person in the midfield inside and out, where you'll basically get Tyler Gibson, who will always sit, and then Cam Lindley and Drew Connor will rotate off of each other. You can say the same thing for Andrew Carlton when he's in there, but you know, that's neither here nor there at this point in time. When you just talk about the personnel they have, watch how flat they get. They're pretty much sitting three across, giving a lot of respect to St. Louis FC, almost inviting the pressure. Howarth dropping, Antley dropping, and then you get a flat line of three. Cam Lindley spearheading that, but not that much. He's only a few yards ahead, so that when you get opportunities coming off the corner like that and you can start to step, he's trying to bridge that gap between Nick Moon, Tyler Pasher, and the defensive shape.
Wall fall. He claims it for St. Louis. Cicerone here. Blackwood in an offside position. You talk about the shape of Indy 11. Let's be very frank. While the lineup on the whole hasn't drastically changed over the course of this year, they've had nicks constantly.
Yeah.
Ioze, Howarth, they've dealt with Ilya Illich being away for a while. You go top to bottom on this roster, and no one's been spared. That's made it very difficult for Indy since, let's not forget, the best start in their franchise's history.
There's a four-game stretch where Cam Lindley was playing your outside wing back.
True.
And I'm not taking away from the fact that he's capable. It's not your preferred option, though. You know, that's where you want Ioze, of course. Carl Howarth with the injury. Suspensions as well. Remember, Ioze picked up the red card in that Pittsburgh game. If they are healthy, a big F.
Lindley from distance sends Morton scampering, but this is off frame.
and all 11 of what the expected lineup should be for Indy 11 is, you're pretty much guaranteed a result. Problem is they haven't had that for a long time. And that's because of all the variables you just talked about, Mike. So, you know, it is also a chance for other opportunities to arise. Not surprising, of course, Nick Moon back in with Tyler Pasher, but, you know, the head turner for me is still Andrew Carlton. Should he be playing as that really attacking midfielder over Cam Lindley? He's got some issues with his hand. Is that it? Fitness possibly. He's still very young, trying to get into constant game shape. It is something that Martin Rennie brought up to us in our conversation and said that I think a lot has been asked of him, almost demanded at times, but you have to be careful with players of his age. Understanding that, you know, they're still put themselves in a position to get into the next round. Regardless of everything they've had to deal with, they're still right there.
And assuming he plays in the second half, and one would imagine that's a pretty fair bet, be over 700 minutes in this shortened regular season. He missed some time at a pretty critical juncture. There was a 5-game, 14-day stretch for Indy earlier this year. For what it's worth, Indy had a 5-match homestand where many, I think you and I included, assumed they'd wrap up at least a playoff spot, if not the group. They only got 4 points out of those 5 games, including a loss to Kansas City on Wednesday night that opened the door for what was described in the local papers as a roll of the dice. One that both managers are outwardly quite confident about. Adewale. Wharton helped to take this away. Contact galore. Tori Penso makes her opinion known. Did last night's cleaning crew drop the ball? Call the pros at Janny King for a free cleaning quote and get the winning service you deserve. And look at G going down. Cicerone. He's making that run in behind. Guy at Bend seeking him out. This is the 6th all-time meeting in games in the championship. They've split the results, 2 wins apiece and a draw. St. Louis has actually won both the home games when these teams have met previously. Indy's still rather new to the league, and of course St. Louis, over the course of their history, never in the same conference or group as it turns out this year. It looked like they were finally going to be in the same place for more than a year for any 2-season stretch.
Well, at least they're consistent.
Consistently inconsistent.
Their decision or not, at least they're consistent.
This ricochets kindly off the back of wall fall. Played ahead for Cicerone. Oh, Cicerone blasting into the back of Carl Ouimet. Tori Penso is going to lay down the law a little bit.
He's making the argument he goes with his shoulder. The problem is he leans with it on the backside of Carl Ouimet. Interesting of note that something you and I haven't addressed yet, and by no means. Oh, and you just talked yourself into that one. There you go. It's a mistake you don't want to make at this point in time.
I'm going to come. Hold on.
18 minutes in, 2 yellows already. Of course, the first one was by Tyler Blackwood on the challenge against Carl Howarth.
What the fuck is going on here, man? How is it this bad every week?
And then also Cicerone not happy with the catering available for this evening.
No,
not a pot roast fan apparently.
Number 9, Russell Cicerone.
This St. Louis team has felt hard done by the officiating now, really the last 2-3 games. And Russell Cicerone making his displeasure clear.
Well, the other argument you could make there is, I'm arguing for the referee. You challenge like that, you continue, you push, you're warned, you continue to go after it, you're always going to get in trouble. What's the severity of it? You were wrong in the tackle.
Service for Greg, picked off by Newton.
But then you just kept going. You know, mom tells you don't put your hand on the hot stove. You burn yourself once, okay, you made a mistake, learn from it. You keep going back, you're gonna get a blister. Simple as that.
And Torrey Penso administered that yellow blister. And it's something to keep in mind given the most recent history between these clubs. A couple of second yellows, but St. Louis really to the sword at Indy. And it's a team you don't really want to give too many opportunities to, because if you look at the overarching 3-game series this year, yes, the record is 1-1-1, and the goals aren't too wild, 4-2 in favor of Indy, but shots are 58-19, and passes are plus 299 to Indy. I want to give them any more help than they already have. It's a team I think most came into this 2020 season assuming not a lot of need to make changes because what you bring back was so good. And the early returns were such that no one really felt that that was an out-of-place thought. Greg trying to hold up play. It was slowed by Gibson. Throw here, St. Louis.
And yet on the other side, you had back-to-back results at the end of July. St. Louis FC on the road, and of course here, West Community on July 26th, where they basically got dominated in the form of results by the opposition. Blue City, Indy 11. You know, in the July 26th game, they basically had one strike on goal for the most part, and they won 1-0. You know, it doesn't really matter how you do it, it's what you do with it, right? And that's kind of, to be honest, what you're looking at for Indy 11 right now. They have basically said in the opening 20 minutes, come beat us, because we can get away with a draw. I'm not saying they're playing for one, but they're saying you have to come beat us. You're going to try and overexpose yourself in an area, and when you do, we feel like that's our best chance of success. We will counter, we will apply pressure, but we're not going to open ourselves up to mistakes. They want the likes of Wallfall, Guy Bend, or Todd Wharton in the midfield. They're taking their chances there, and I don't blame them for it. You take Drew Connor, Cam Lindley, Tyler Gibson, match them up against those three. I mean, this comes down to a system v system. Steve Trichio knows that. He said, we're going to have to win some individual battles, and so far, Indy 11's done that.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Indy 11's number 2.
Yellow there, not to G, but rather to Connor Antley. So cards for everybody in the opening 21 minutes. Antley, then Cicerone and Blackwood from St. Louis FC. Cicerone. It's a hard-fought challenge. Boy, that could be a really fun battle in this game. Howarth and Cicerone. Martin Rennie looks on. His second year at the helm. Traditionally, he ran a 4-3-3. He's had an impressive career as a coach. A man still in his mid-40s. But switched to a 3-back last year with the personnel they had, and they started to really fly. Made it to the conference final and lost at home to Louisville on one of the more entertaining matches we've seen in the playoffs in recent times. Not sure Indy fans quite see it that way, but to the neutral, I think you and I were on the edge of our seat the whole distance.
Fun match to watch. And there's been some great ones, right? Yeah, it's one of the other things here is, again, in another year, I'd venture to say that probably all 4 of these teams in Group E would make it into the playoffs. If I had to pick top 10 right now, for instance, we continue the same format, and that would give us the luxury to see some more games. We would get an opportunity for more battles come playoff time and to see all of these continue forth, but that's not the case this year. So one of them will have to bow out. They're going to be taking on some crazy opposition. It seems like some of these teams right now, especially in the East, are really hitting their stride. Easy to pick out Louisville City, but Pittsburgh Riverhounds have been right there. Birmingham was the talk of the town for quite some time. That's not the case anymore. you know, what a springboard this could be for each one of these teams. Yeah, maybe we've struggled for results, but look what we did when it mattered. And now an opportunity to go into the knockout stages, final 16. Scary thought.
Wharton for wall fall. Winner of this game would end up going on the road to either Hartford or Pittsburgh. Many did not think that that would also be coming down to the final weekend of the regular season. Alas, here we are. Pittsburgh was leading early in their match against Union 2. If they were to win that game, they would be up on Hartford. And Hartford Athletic plays tomorrow at Red Bulls 2 to try and reestablish the lead in the group. It's Pasher powering forward. Put really simply, Indy at Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh ends up the number 2 seed, they'd go to Louisville. Those
Figure,
are conference
right?
finals.
Oh, it's funny. We had the opportunity. I was talking with one of the producers before, and I said, can you imagine? I said, Hartford, go get a victory. You're looking at an Eastern Conference final possibly in the likes of Louisville City and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. But like you said, flip the script, and it could easily end up the other way. And again, it all comes down to 2020, right? Who'd have thought?
Earn, save, spend, and learn with Greenlight, the debit card to kids that parents manage by app. Sign up today at greenlightcard.com and get 1 month free. Devin, your allowance is going to be late this week.
My card's been in the mail for quite some time.
Devin, I didn't get you the card.
No.
No. Hey, did last night's cleaning crew drop the ball? Call the pros at Janny King for a free cleaning quote. Get the winning service you deserve. Or just call Steve Tritchu, apparently, as we found out on Wednesday night.
I wonder what that list actually was. You know? I got the honeydew list, if you will.
Yep.
Speaking with Junior Gonzalez from Los Angeles Galaxy 2 today, and he was a little distraught at the fact that I wasn't peeled to the, or my eyes weren't peeled to the television on the Manchester City Leeds game. I said, well, you know, I got some things to do. He goes, the honeydew list. I said, yeah, a little busy.
Wall fall, tries to blast that. That's a painful block, well earned by Tyler Gibson. Cicerone trying to switch the point.
It's a great job on the double by Cam Lindley coming over here. Carl Howarth had the one-on-one with Cicerone, and smart recognition, quick little pinch over. And yes, you make St. Louis AFC rotate over to the far side of the field where there is a bit more space, but then you're asking Toby Adewale to step up into that space. The minute that he starts to go an extra 5, an extra 10 yards forward, now you're looking at a 2v2. Tyler Pasher, Nick Moon going against Kavita, Sam Fink. Spread the back line out a little bit. It's an inadvertent move. It's one of those actions, equal and opposite reaction on the other side. Really smart by Indy 11 defensively.
Cicerone breaks through, ball at his feet. Blackwood tried to throw his foot in. Toby Adewale came in from Pittsburgh, 3 strong years playing for Bob Lilly. And Indy only gets so far before Todd Wharton steps in. Howarth. The 11 said they felt like this was a bit of a first-round playoff game in which a draw will get the job done. Ball for Cicerone. Invited in Howarth. Cicerone drives it long. Trying to get that in behind for Blackwood. And Newton did enough. Fink struggling in the back. Torrey Penso says that's not a foul. That is a massive decision in this game. Fink reaching back to try and keep Moon from breaking through. Huge moment. Just shy of the half-hour mark in this match. Cicerone.
There's a lot of space in the midfield, Mike, and look at the quick little counter. Watch as you come back across here. Yeah, I'll tell you what. The angle doesn't show it. Nick Moon looks like he gets a touch here, though. There's the touch. Sam Fink makes contact. Don't see a lot coming off of the defender to change the trajectory of the ball. Got away with one there.
Would be a dog so, no? If that were indeed whistle a foul.
The one thing you have to think about is look where the ball goes, so remember that. It's all going to be, it's subjective, right? You and I had the opportunity to pick the brain of a really impressive mind coming from the MLS level, who we will not say who that referee was.
Sure.
But we'll just leave it at this. There are so many parameters that you have to go by. One of the key important ones that he talked to us about was in situations like this, where does the challenge come from? How close to the goal it is in terms of proximity. 40 yards from net, ball moving sideways. Even if it is a touch, is it enough to brandish a red card? I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be there.
Indy bats this backward. Wall fall for Todd Wharton. Came over from Timbers 2. 4 assists this year, but no goals. He had 6 for T2 a year ago. 7 in blue and green. Games like this invite heroes.
Again, it still goes down to the playmaking aspect for St. Louis FC. Look at this. I mean, you're right at half field. No pressure at all. Indy 11 once again. And kudos to them, by the way. They have a game plan. Martin Rennie knows exactly what he wants to do. This is, again, really similar to what you saw when they were on the road back on July 22nd, challenging the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Had an extended conversation with Martin after the game, and he just said, listen, you know, you were a bit critical of us not attacking the match, and I understand that because that's what people know us for, but we understood we were going to have to sustain a bit more pressure than before and pick and choose our moments going forward. We couldn't always be the team people wanted us to be. Sometimes we have to be the team we need to be. And that recognition only comes from within a dressing room sometimes. They sit back, absorb, and then go the other direction. Refereeing getting in the way or not, you know, they've pretty much played that to plan so far.
We've reached a hydration break here. And a moment for everybody to get caught up on the playoff picture, Devin, coming into tonight. And there's a lot going on. There are 3 groups in which the final spot remains unsettled. Indy and St. Louis, Tulsa and Austin, although Tulsa appears on the verge. Birmingham and Charlotte. Birmingham almost assuredly is in if North Carolina beats Charlotte here tonight. North Carolina goes to Memphis on Tuesday with a chance to clinch a playoff spot, being 12 points down with 4 to go.
And there's a lot going on, and again, it all comes back to 13 out of the 16 matches. An opportunity. Think about this, Mike. North Carolina, 12 points back a week ago. A week and a half, excuse me. They could go win Birmingham, win Red Bull 2, win Charlotte, and with a Birmingham loss and another victory against Memphis, they could end up as the #1 team coming out of Group G. Go figure.
North Carolina and Charlotte are at the half. They're scoreless. Pittsburgh at the half with a lead over Philadelphia. Louisville leads SKC 2 in the 34th minute as they try and chase the #1 overall seed. Paolo Del Piccolo scored in that one. And that'll get you home field advantage through the conference playoffs. But winning your group is what gets you a home game in the first round, a way to incentivize beating the other teams in your group. Neither of these teams have a shot at that, but they both have a shot to make the postseason.
Well, think about the fact that you also talked about FC Tulsa in Group D pretty much has it locked up. You've got San Antonio, who play tomorrow, Reno tonight, Phoenix tonight. With a Reno loss and a San Antonio loss, Phoenix gets the win. Reno win, they control their own destiny. I mean, there are so many examples. It's kind of just like, you know, mathematics, you know, a 1+1 carried the long division, goal differential, win column. Just go out, get 3 points, make it easy on everybody, right? At least on you and I.
Here comes Indy 11 with a full head of steam. Lindley lays this back. Drew Connor to Gibson. Hackshaw reverses. Fizzled out a little bit there. Barrett working with Hackshaw. We're in the 35th minute. This result holds Indy would move to the postseason with a draw. Oh, turnover in the back. Here comes St. Louis with a chance to take the lead! Tyler Blackwood! It's not done and dusted yet for St. Louis. It is incredible.
And unfortunately for Indy 11, the moment has picked them here. Mr. Steady, Neville Hackshaw, gets caught trying to play out of the back a bit too nonchalant. It's a tiny step on the far side by Kyle Gregg. Beautiful deflection, falls in favor of Tyler Blackwood. Mike, he hit this, actually thought he might have pulled the trigger a bit too early. That far out, and with a steady guy like Evan Newton in between the pipes, but he saw the spacing, knew exactly where the goalkeeper stood. A bit of pace on the instep, puts his boys out in front.
That St. Louis FC goal delivered by Domino's. 36th minute, his 6th of the year. And yes, there is smoke. St. Louis FC, for those unaware, midway through this season, reports began to emerge that the team would cease operations at the end of this year. They've dealt with the financial impacts of COVID. Major League Soccer will be coming to St. Louis in a few years' time. And so St. Louis FC may be playing their final game tonight. If this result now holds, St. Louis would go through to the playoffs and visit either Hartford or Pittsburgh. Is this another turnover? Wharton. Flag stays down. Away by Lindley. Devin, you said right at the outset, if you're St. Louis and you grab a goal early, you have to fancy your chances tonight.
It's a team that, you know, they've started to acquire a reputation similar to what Bob Lilly and the Riverhounds are capable of, where they grab a goal, they sit. We saw it against Louisville earlier this year. We saw it against Indy 11 earlier this year. Sporting Kansas City 2 did the same thing against both of those squads, where they found a moment and then they sat. And though those games were a bit more wide open for St. Louis FC, the disposition on the defensive side of the ball has gotten so much better here. Good sportsmanship between those two. Just trying to make a play. Connor Antley on Toby Adewale. But I've been really impressed so far with Russell Cicerone on this left side. That was one of the questions coming in. Paris G has pretty much locked down the right. Everything we've seen so far offensively from Indy has been quick counters, unsurprisingly. Haven't been able to capitalize on their end. And build-up play, though not great from St. Louis. They have experience. the bigger load of possession so far. And whether it comes off a benefacting deflection or not, there's still a good little press on the right side. Kyle Gregg is in the right spot. You know, what point in time, if you're Martin Rennie, and it's still very early, let's get that out of the way, but do you start to change? We talked about the evolution of this team. They need to diversify their options going forward. This is what I'm talking about. Find another gear and challenge your opposition. St. Louis FC have done that. Indy's got about 45 plus to do the same.
By the way, Antley, that foul a moment ago is on a yellow card, so perhaps that plays just a bit into just how kind he was at the end. But Torrey Penso did go over, indicate no more. Something to keep in mind as we go forward here. They find Howarth. And that long run in, and this shot hammered right at Morton. Kyle Morton actually dealt with cramps in the game at Indy. That
was an interesting one, right?
Led to some pretty solid commentary from the team at training coming out of that. But Morton last year started 26 games in Pittsburgh. Tomas Gomez goes to the Riverhounds, leaving St. Louis. Morton goes the opposite way, and it seems like he's been the right guy. Help backstop this St. Louis side, the verge of the postseason. The team last year that went 6 winless to end the 2019 season, they ended up missing the playoffs by a point. It was almost guaranteed that they'd get in. 5 losses and a draw. Of those losses, 4 were by a goal. There have been some real heartbreak moments for St. Louis FC over these 6 years.
The other side of that for 2019, Mike, is the glorious run that was Open Cup, which put them in the situation that they were tired. They were depleted of the necessary resources coming down the stretch to give them the opportunity for that final push. This team, a bit more depth. Yes, coaching change and everything, but even Steve Tritchu, he's been very vocal about it. This team was built by upper management, and Anthony Pulis coming into the 2020 season. An opportunity came for Anthony Pulis to go another direction. Good on him, and everybody respected that. There's no hard feelings there whatsoever. But Steve Tritchu said, look, I've got a squad that's built to win. I've got a bit more depth than I have had in previous years, and what St. Louis FC hasn't necessarily had. I mean, you and I had conversations with Anthony Pulis last year where he goes, listen, I'm barely able to field a team this week. That's not the case anymore. You know, they run a solid 14, 15 in rotation, and it just comes down to execution.
Navigating through the pocket, Howard. We met the pressure starting to inch closer. Call the team at Courtney's Heating and Cooling today so you can sleep in comfort tonight. Call 636-36-COMFY. Tyler Blackwood, 36th minute. Press-induced giveaway. Led to a breakaway. And right now, St. Louis trying to run away with the final playoff spot in this group. Elsewhere, Louisville is taking a 2-goal lead. Cameron Lancaster adds to his total. Pittsburgh remains up by a goal. North Carolina and Charlotte kicked off their second half in the final weekend of the USL Championship in 2020 before the playoffs begin next week. Wall fall. Wall fall! There's Evan Newton parrying it aside. It leads to a corner.
Exactly one of the saves that I was talking about where there are moments in a match Evan Newton has to step up big. This all started because of the beautiful rotation on the far side between Cicerone, Guy Ben. Ben had come outside, Cicerone tucks in, Little far ball. They couldn't track it. Indy 11 with the rotating pieces, opened up space in the midfield. One touch, has a crack. Well done by Evan Newton once again. Keeps his team in it. Give up a second one would be almost catastrophic at this point.
It's Todd Wharton. And that smacked away by Newton. Leads to a throw. Blackwood back heels it. There's the service. Chest it back, Cicerone. Can chase this further. Gaia bend. Given away, Wharton. There's room here. And will they have a go? They did. They powered over the crossbar. Harris G stepping inside and letting fly.
Confidence a bit different than the opening 20 minutes, I would say. Harris G on the far side. Sequential nature, the one by Wallfall and now by Paris G. A little left to right motion seems to prove a little bit problematic right now for Indy 11. Wouldn't have too much concern over it. Spacing changing just a little bit here for St. Louis FC. Not a massive amount. There is a little bit of that relationship starting to develop with the outside wingbacks there, where they're willing to challenge here a bit more. And I don't mean going the vertical route. They are starting to invert themselves a little bit, track their runs left and right. It's something that Martin Rennie will definitely discuss. More importantly, he's going to try and find a way here, Mike, come into the second half of where is the personnel going to change in order for us to be successful moving forward.
Torrey Penso dealing with a bit of an insurrection here. Stoppage time presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resources needs. 3 additional minutes here and plenty of that spent just getting this ball back into play. Greg gives chase. He will finish the all-time leading goal scorer for St. Louis FC, just as Sam Fink will finish its all-time games played leader. And an Indy foul. This is an enormous 2 minutes, Steph. If you're Indy, you absolutely have to escape to the locker room at 1-0. If you can get one back, all the better. Consider from there.
I think there's a bit of extracurriculars on the backside of this. And there's a little challenge for sure on Paris G. But again, Tyler Gibson, you got to wonder why push. Okay, there it is. We're getting confirmation that Tyler Gibson gets his hallmark for the evening. And if the foul wasn't enough, a couple shoves right in front of the head referee doesn't help. From what I hear anyway.
For what it's worth, Cicerone, Blackwood, Gibson, and Antley all have yellows. None have more than 2 all season coming in. So it's an interesting list of demerits at this point. Cicerone. A bend. Cicerone breaking through. Howarth goes in, got the ball. Bounces back out to Gaia Bend. Blackwood trying to force this away from Ouimet.
It's a pretty impressive tackle over here on the near touchline. Just keep an eye on where the touch is. There's the first touch. Now watch. Beautiful in from behind. Now the key fixture here is it too much of a restricted effort. A lot of times, referees will call you at fault coming from that much of a negative position, but I think the fact that you do see from the peripherals of Cicerone, he has the opportunity to see Carl Howarth. You'd like to see him a bit less in the second half, to be honest. Really well done by Cicerone on the far side. Martin Rennie, here's the thing you have to think about. As well as it was defended, and they did well, it started to change in terms of the shape for St. Louis FC. He will now counteract that. He'll look to the likes of Iose and Andrew Carlton in the second half, bring them on, fresh legs. St. Louis FC has a big task ahead of them in the second half here, Mike, because they're going to have to change as well. A lot's going to be coming at them, and it's going to be in the form of high pace and tempo.
It's off to the dressing room for these two sides. As has been the case all of 2020, a similar beginning. Our Regions Bank halftime coming up, and Tyler Blackwood scores an incredible goal. Steve Tritchew's side lead with the playoffs in the offing. Halftime coming up.
Keep going.
No, I'm done.
My daughter's tired of being my muse. Normally, my company does 30 shoots a year. This year's a little different.
That's what we're here for, Neil. I've got several ways to help you and your business.
Come on, Daddy, come on.
When life takes you out of your comfort zone, an appointment with your Regions banker, in person or on the phone, can help you understand your options and brave the beginning.
So how is it?
Great.
When facing a divorce or other family law matter, you may feel lost and betrayed by those you loved. Although you may feel alone, it's important to have hope. At Stange Law Firm, we limit our practice to family law matters because we understand that nothing is more important than your family. We are there when you need us most. No matter the family law issue, we are here to help you rebuild your life.
Welcome back to Fenton, everybody. Indy 11 trail St. Louis FC, and Indy need a goal if they're to turn this result around and reach the postseason. You know, Steve Tritchew spent all of Wednesday doing dishes. One dish he couldn't do, Devon's.
Hey, producer, anybody know what week it is? It doesn't matter what week it is. It's the dish, and we are heading into the final week of the USL Championship. North Carolina FC having to make up a game. They get Red Bull 2. Dre Fortune gets taken down. Penn, top corner, 1-0. Run it back again, except this time nobody takes him down. Instead, ball comes back across. Fantastic finish to the bottom corner. 2-0. They would make it 3 off the own goal. North Carolina FC, 12 points back of first place last week. They beat Birmingham, they beat Red Bull 2. If they beat Charlotte on the weekend, they travel to a playing game of Memphis. Not only could they get in, they could get first place with a Birmingham loss. But dare I digress, Hartford Athletic, this should be an easy game against Philadelphia Union 2. Nobody told Philadelphia Union 2 that. Nor did anybody tell Hartford Athletic that either. They made it really difficult on themselves. Went out 2-0 in the opening 15 minutes, but see, an own goal is bad, and this is even worse. Communication is the key to any successful relationship. However, we have a sighting. We're calling it the Immaculate Deflection. Why not? Mitch Butler, what are you doing with this ball? Shades of Loris Karius in Liverpool. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. We all know why. You'll never walk alone. And Indy is walking alone right now. Indy 11 having to get a victory puts them in to the playoffs. Wilson Harris, 41st minute, because all he does is score goals. Can barely vote. Definitely can't buy alcohol, but he can score goals. But Andrew Carlton gets them even. And then at the tail end of it, 95th minute, in his debut Bailey Sparks, London Bridge makes an appearance at Lucas Oil. We all fall down. Indy 11 need a result at St. Louis FC to get in. St. Louis got to get a victory. Orange County need to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. This gets them start off nice. Sean Okoli, go! Knows how to score. He bags goals, 6th minute, but Augustine Williams gets a brace in the 68th. Combined with the one in the 10th minute, only 2 goals off the golden boot pace. This would be back and forth in the final minutes of this game. Really close. Insult to injury in the 92nd by Hernandez. Los Dos punched their ticket, as did a few other teams, but there's still a lot to play for. Understand this coming into the weekend. 16 games on the USL Championship fixture list, 13 of which have playoff implications. Miami FC knocked off Battery's chances to go number 1 in their group. FC Tulsa put themselves in the driver's seat in Group B. Of course, that's for number 2 seed, because San Antonio FC, they're miles ahead of everyone. And when I mean B, I mean D. We all make mistakes. RGV, shout out to Eric Falero. That's his boys, Jerson Echeverry. They get their first win of the season. Real Monarchs, New Mexico United. New Mexico United could have gotten real close here to overtaking El Paso Locomotive. Instead, they're playing for first place on the weekend in Group C. And Reno, what are you doing? You had the opportunity to sign, seal, and deliver the number 1 seed in the West, but you couldn't do it. Instead, Reno, San Antonio, and Phoenix have an opportunity for that. Couple in the East as well. We'll see you out there.
Visit USLSoccerShop.com this Friday through Monday to claim at least 20% off at participating clubs' online stores.
What a beauty! It's fantastic! Sensational! Fantastic! Any way you slice it. This one he puts away, fires and scores. What an unbelievable strike. Oh, what a goal!
There's the shot, it scores! Attacking, shooting, and scoring!
The United Soccer League and its 47th championship in League One clubs stand united in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can create change. Together, we are united against racism.
Visit USLSoccerShop.com this Friday through Monday to claim at least 20% off at participating clubs' online stores.
Welcome back, everybody. That's the message here in Fenton, Missouri. Indy 11 trying to spoil this, and they've got a ways to go. Tyler Blackwood, the opening goal. So we welcome you back to this Regions Bank halftime. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, let's take a look at news and notes from around the league. Playoffs begin October the 9th. All of the playoffs are on ESPN+. The championship game will be on ESPN. See, those are different. November 1st, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And Charleston Battery are going to the playoffs again, just as we all assumed.
The only team in the modern era dating back to 2011 to secure a postseason berth every year. Doesn't hurt, by the way, that you have the 3rd longest tenured manager in the form of Mike Anhauser on the sideline. That's in the world, by the way. Look it up.
Yeah. How about we take a look at the schedule around the USL, get you caught up here as FC Tulsa taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks. That game already kicking off just a little bit ago. Rio Grande Valley and OKC, nothing to play for there. One of the very few games in which that's the case. Orange County is out. Reno, that's a big one. Phoenix and LA Galaxy, too. Something to play for there, too.
Remember, San Antonio sitting on 33. Of course, Phoenix Rising sitting on 32, and Reno is sitting on 33. But when you look at the wins, it's what it can break down to. Both equal on wins. Goal differential, it's right there. Plus 21 for Reno, plus 17 for San Antonio. So all the tiebreakers at play. And, Las Vegas Lights, Orange County, another one that you don't want to say doesn't have any meaning. Every game has meaning. Unfortunately, no postseason for them in 2020.
And let's take a look at the USL Championship Group B standings. We mentioned it, Louisville could get to 35 points. They could get the number 1 overall seed. They're up 2-0 in their match against Kansas City. 2 have been eliminated. It's the wins where this all falls apart for St. Louis and Indy a couple days ago in terms of what was necessary. St. Louis was always going to need a win tonight.
When you start to peek around the corner as well, Pittsburgh Riverhounds just gave up a penalty. Jack McGlynn from Philadelphia Union 2 ties it. So as we sit, Hartford Athletic is still the number 1 seed in Group F, which means as we're sitting right now, they would actually play St. Louis FC. Louisville City would get Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the first round of the playoffs. Now, subject to change. I mean, there is so much going on right now that could change at the moment's notice, and I'm sure it will come second half for any one of these games. So a lot still to play for, a lot still uncertain as the issue is still in doubt.
It's 1-0 St. Louis FC over Indy 11. This Indy side that impressed so much at the beginning need an excellent second half to survive in the postseason. St. Louis just needs to hold on to this lead. Back with more from Fenton in this Regions Bank halftime after this.
Do you think he's ready for a debit card?
Mm-hmm.
He's on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
The Greenlight app and debit card makes it easy to manage your kids' money and brings you peace of mind.
He has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
With Greenlight, kids form smart money habits that prepare them for their futures.
Did you know about this?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Greenlight, all the tools you need to raise financially smart kids.
This year we developed Ale d'Or, which is a beer brewed exclusively for the St. Louis Football Club. We've been partners with STLC for coming up on 3 years now. St. Louis Football Club, got some Schlafly, call out our Luligan friends on the side. You'll be able to find Ale d'Or obviously out at Soccer Park and then at your local grocery in and around St. Louis, so we're really excited to get it out there in the market. We're excited to debut it in 16-ounce cans for the upcoming season.
When facing a divorce or other family law matter, you may feel lost and betrayed by those you loved. Although you may feel alone, it's important to have hope. At Stange Law Firm, we limit our practice to family law matters because we understand that nothing is more important than your family. We are there when you need us most. No matter the family law issue, we are here to help you rebuild your life.
Welcome back, everybody, to Fenton. St. Louis ahead of Indy, a goal to the good, and right now that put them in playoff position with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts. Let's take a look at your first half highlights. They're brought to you by Louisa Foods.
A young man that had a really impactful movie. That'd be nice. This is like a movie, the way that the plot is playing out, I'll tell you that much, is Cam Lindley. And he's a great dead ball striker. This one comes from the run of play, trying to pick out the far post against Kyle Morton. The way that Indy was sitting, it was always going to be, at least so far, a counter-attacking move. That actually proves true for St. Louis FC on this one. They're starting to show a similar shape. There's a little pressure on the far side, not too much. What happens here is when you're trying to play out of the back, Neville Hackshaw, this half turn isn't something you normally see. He usually pulls this ball back across his body and then starts the rotation around that half window. Kyle Gregg steps in. Tyler Blackwood sends the entire stadium into raptures. 39th minute. Here comes the press and the pace again. They'd already turned it over. You get a little look, and then coming back across the body to the unfavorited right foot of Tyler Pasher. And then St. Louis FC, couple opportunities. Momentum swing is the most important thing here. The rotation started on the left. Guy Ben and Cicerone. Cicerone sprays the ball out wide. Good job by Wharton to allow this to develop. There's a little step to the side by Wallfall, puts it on the favorite right foot, crack from distance, can't get it done. It's a great save by Evan Newton, by the way. He keeps his team in this, and Paris G thinks, hey, if Wallfall can do it, why can't I? It doesn't necessarily end up like that. Still a good strike from distance, but Evan Newton right there.
Here are your halftime stats. Look, Indy wanted to cede the possession. That was part of the game plan. Will that continue?
You don't really have that luxury, do you? You know, you got to find a way. Here's the problem. Not only do you not have the luxury, you need to find a way back into the match. It's one thing to sit and give up a goal. It's another to start to give momentum to a home squad, possibly their last home game. Could be the last game of the franchise. The emotional aspect of this is going to start to override. So if you're Martin Rennie, you have to start to chase the game a little bit right now. He's going to do that. Andrew Carlton comes in, Cam Lindley off. There's your sub, and there's the immediate recognition by Martin Rennie saying, we're done. We are going to be the ones to put our foot forward first.
This substitution brought to you by Cigna. On comes Andrew Carlton, and Cameron Lindley checks off. Carlton, one of the most talented young players in the United States, and that's not hyperbole. Incredible performances with the youth national team. Have many salivating at the idea of what he could bring in the future. What can he bring tonight for Indy? He scored just minutes in off the bench against Kansas City on Wednesday night.
4 to be exact, 49th minute after the substitution at halftime. And the rotation that we talked about that started to develop for St. Louis FC in the first half is exactly what Martin Rennie is expecting out of Andrew Carlton here in the second. So dynamic of a presence, high IQ from a footballing standpoint, and always willing to venture right, left, drag runners with him to allow guys like Tyler Pasher and Nick Moon to explode into the final third.
Hackshaw blasted into the back of Greg a moment ago. It leads to this free kick. Floated to the back post. There's a header there. Appeals, penalty! A handball. St. Louis can double their lead.
It's
simply staggering.
It's the right call as well, Mike, because it's very difficult in this day and age to stay within the rules because of the fact as a defender, you're tracking away from the ball, you're jumping up. How are you supposed to keep your arms down? But you have to. And look at the flailing arm coming all the way off the body. 100% the correct decision. And inside 3 minutes, an opportunity in the form of a penalty to be a dagger for Indy 11.
Wallfall, 30 career USL championship goals. Is this a nail in Indy's coffin? Wallfall, got it! St. Louis FC lead 2-0, narrowly got by Evan Newton. And it is real. It's a 2-goal lead with the playoffs on the line.
Going back again, the right decision by the referee, right decision by Evan Newton as well, but Wallfall just brings this up a bit higher. If this ball is lower, Mike, this is a save by Evan Newton. Wallfall just gets enough velocity and a bit of lift on this thing. Newton definitely reads it, goes the right way. Unfortunately, just a bit too high for him to get one of his bits on it.
That St. Louis FC goal is delivered by Domino's. Wallfall in the 48th.
St. Louis FC goal, his second of the season, scored by number 5, Wallfall! In the 47th
For Indy, this has to be simply stunning. All this firepower, there's a long way to go. A draw would be enough to get them through. Only 2 goals. St. Louis now simply has to maintain what is often described as the most difficult lead in soccer. Fink goes back. Morton. Adewale way up the field. Blackwood muscled off the ball. Carlton. Nick Moon, threatening all season long. Got the shot away, big rebound, and Morton sprawls out, leaps on it. And this is the danger of Indy 11. They can turn this on a dime, but can they?
How interesting that Andrew Carlton didn't try and spring on this, by the way, because Kyle Morton spills this ball about 10 yards away from where the initial impact comes from. And he was starting to move towards the back post, expecting maybe a ball would come up over the top, but still had time to react to it. There was a body in front of him, so maybe he didn't necessarily see that the space was there.
Terrific turn out of pressure. Cicerone into the wide area. Runners flying forward towards Cicerone now. Barrett. So far it's been pretty calm from Indy as the pressure from St. Louis trying to grip Indy back in their own defensive third. Indy felt tonight was a test of their culture. The result alone won't describe whether that test was passed or failed necessarily. Sometimes that can be a misnomer, but it's always been one thing or another over the course of these last 6-7 games. They feel like they've come close more times than not to getting the results they've been looking for. Simply haven't been nearly clinical enough in vital moments. They had a chance to end this thing on Wednesday night against an already eliminated Kansas City 2 team, one which Steve Tritchue said ahead of the Louisville game that St. Louis dropped would have kept them in position regardless of that Wednesday Indy SKC game. They didn't expect Indy to drop points, but they did. They dropped all 3. Sets up this massive fixture tonight, one in which St. Louis had exceeding confidence. Connor for Carlton. Swings the cross through, there's Morton.
Of course, the debut of Bailey Sparks scoring in the 95th minute changed all of that for Sporting Kansas City 2 and Indy 11. And even in the match itself, Mike, and I agreed with Martin Rennie in the sense that they are creating. It would be another thing if, you know, maybe necessarily the opportunities weren't there. There were plenty of opportunities, especially in the first half. You go down 1-0 prior to halftime. Wilson Harris. And then, you know, you grab the one. Everybody's had to deal with that this year, right?
Right.
And then you grab the goal from Andrew Carlton to start the second, but the second half was just, it was lackluster. And, you know, the team that was Indy 11, where they sat and withstood the pressure against Pittsburgh Riverhounds and a worldly goal by Tyler Pasha earlier this season. You know, you think about what they did against Sporting Kansas City 2 prior to that. The thrashing of Hartford Athletic 4-1, gone are those days. And the conversion rate just not what it used to be. And it does all come down to, you know, can you get all of the pieces to this puzzle on the field at one point in time? That answer, once again, was a defiantly no at the start of the match because you don't have Ioze, you don't have Andrew Carlton. Of course, that isn't necessarily Martin Rennie's fault. Of course, they're picking up a couple knocks here and there. But now that you're starting to get them in the second half, can they produce? Andrew Carlton, you'll notice, he'll start to wander a bit more than Cam Lindley did. Defensively, not asked as much of him, much more creative in the final third, and that's where they're going to need him because, bottom line, in the first half, though they were looking to sit and counter, still not enough opportunities for Nick Moon or Tyler Pasha to make an impact on the game.
Carlton comes with his own key to the city. There's no area of the field he can't unlock. Rolls out to Connor Antley, the 2019 League One Defender of the Year. Pressed into service tonight. Ioze available on the bench. Maka King at the beginning of this year may have taken this role. He was shipped off mid-season in pursuit of more playing time. And this, a poor giveaway by St. Louis. Slipped ahead, the back heel setting up a rip that's blocked. An appeal that got off the elbow from the entire Indy 11 staff. There's Andrew Carlton off that back heel who set it up. Nick Moon, Antley, corner, Indy. This corner kick is brought to you by Schnucks. Lifted and away by Morton. Driven wide of Connor. Howarth. Connor overlapping, but it's Howarth slicing this out.
We can put the argument to bed that this did come off the hand because this is 100% the upper knee. As you'll see, Andrew Carlton trying to pick out that bottom corner, coming back across, Adewale going to ground. Arms actually tucked next to his body. Well done by the St. Louis FC defender. That's a much better buildup, though, from Indy 11. It's really similar, to be fair, of the goal that Andrew Carlton did score last match against Sporting Kansas City 2 to tie it up. Just 4 minutes into his substitute role.
Harris G commits the foul. Well, it's not a large group of people in the building, but that group is displeased in voicing that opinion.
The hooligans on this near touchline. It's a little tug right there. You could make the argument either way. Of course, it's going to be always the second infraction, right? One thing you want to keep an eye on, Mike, for Indy 11 right now in the midfield, as I talked about the shape in the first half, you had Drew Connor, Cam Lindley, and Tyler Gibson that would spread themselves thin, more specifically flat, and they would sort of pivot side to side. You're going to get a different look now with Andrew Carlton willing to challenge offensively, which they need him to. You're giving more responsibility to Drew Connor and Tyler Gibson, covering more space, so watch on the width. That can open up a bit quicker than what you saw in the first half.
Carlton rips this at Morton, who knocks it down, and will take every tick off the clock he can. Lobs this up to Kavita.
The other side of that argument is, now if you're Diabend or Todd Wharton, you don't necessarily carry some of the same offensive threat that you did in the first half because you're sitting on the 2-goal lead, and you've got a really talented playmaking number 10 in the form of Andrew Carlton, starting to venture all over and challenge the shape of your midfield. You have to be careful, make sure the communication is right, because as you pass player to player, Indy 11 will start to respond and they'll challenge you. Carlton loves the one-on-ones like this, but watch as he plays. He doesn't stop moving. He's always going to continue to apply the pressure, even if he's not on the ball.
Flag had been raised. Indy pointed to their playoff experience against Nashville, their final game in the USL Championship. They've dealt with that emotion before. They've played in games of massive significance. For Steve Tritchu, he said it was personally for him the first time he's ever played in a do-or-die game, although, lest we forget, he was on the field for the shot heard around the world once upon a time against Trinidad and Tobago, which certainly carried its own level of implications. But as a manager, closest he's come, had a chance to seal up the #1 seed against Colorado Springs, with Colorado Springs a few years ago. Didn't get the job done. Barrett. Barrett, a line drive that forces Morton down to make the stop.
59th minute.
G. Plenty of white shirts parading forward. Carlton. Had a Appeared to take a deflection, perhaps. It's a goal kick. And a sub to come. More Sam replaces Tyler Blackwood. As it stands, he has the game winner for St. Louis FC, but we've got a long way to go. The substitution brought to you by Cigna.
Yellow card in the 7th, goal in the 36th. His 6th on the year, Mike, put them out in front. And was it the most fantastic shift? No, but he did what was asked of him. There's a lot of chasing up top there for Kyle Gregg and Tyler Blackwood defensively, going side to side, making sure that they're locking down the channels so that you can't go 1, 2, 3 if you're Indy 11. That's when they're at their best. So defensively, pretty impressive by the boys up top. The fresh legs will be quite kind to help out Kyle Gregg, as there's still a lot more work to be done.
That's the amazing thing. Kyle Gregg's gone almost 1,000 minutes this year. Foul committed here, and it's just another knock. There's going to be a yellow card for this.
Carl, we met. Watch the quick little counter here as this punch comes in from behind. Oh, looks like it's actually Patty Barrett. Carl Ouimet initially gets turned here, and Patty Barrett understands that the entire back line's beat. Plenty of people around for sure. The captain will go into that little black book. I've always wondered what else is in there, by the way. Cards for sure, and fouls, but maybe fish taco recipes or something along those lines. A guy can dream, right? I mean, I've been in there enough.
Good. Connor Antley out. Ilya Illich comes on. Sub brought to you by Cigna. And Indy's going to have to start making some serious tactical adjustments if they want to get these 2 goals back with their season on the line.
Indy 11, number 29, Patty Barrett. In the 61st minute. Substitution for
Set
Indy
piece
11,
here for St. Louis.
2, Connor Antley, entering the game, number 14.
This will get out for a corner.
In the 61st
Do you have a
minute.
solid game plan for your financial future? At Edward Jones, they craft investment strategies that are as individual as you are. Over these years, so many fans, so many sponsors, so many players, coaches, staff, given so much to this. The folks at St. Louis, Scott Gallagher, and may well continue for St. Louis FC. But a home playoff game would be extraordinarily difficult to imagine. Should they make it in, they would have to hope Birmingham and Charlotte both fail to get points for them to have a chance to get into a tiebreak. Corner here, St. Louis. Sam Fink's a big dude, but not that big. Back to Sam.
You would have to imagine that with the entrance of Ilya Illich.
Chested back, and Gaia Ben sends a rainbow over to Newton.
Nick Moon, and suspicions confirmed. We'll start to rotate out to this left side. It's nothing new for Indy 11. The key thing to think about is what sort of relationship is going to be created between Andrew Carlton and Ilya Illich. It's not something we've gotten to see a boatload this season.
A moment ago, Drew Connor was shown a yellow card, so that's 3 players for Indy. Gibson, Connor, and Barrett playing on yellows. Cicerone the only one now for St. Louis, with Blackwood having come out. Barrett aiming for the back post. It's going to be really difficult to win a header against either of these back lines. Quite the forest. Torrey Penso says the ball contacted there first. Hackshaw. Will fall. Stepped in. Gregg. Pursued, overrun briefly by Connor. St. Louis maintains possession. Room to run onto here for Paris G. G, Sam. We met and nodded back to Newton. Pasher. Scored some magical goals this year. There's some magic left in those boots to get him into double figures. Get Indy back into this match. It's Moon. The referee telling Moon, get back to his feet. Ran into Wharton. Connor. Down by wall fall. Well, we knew coming in there'd probably be a fair number of tough tackles in this game. We've gotten that.
Interestingly enough, some of them were actually not that heavy in the first half, awarded with yellow cards, and things starting to open up here for sure in the second half. Look at all this space on the far side.
And there's that ball sprayed over the top, but it's going to drag the runner. Wharton.
The key thing to think about if you're Drew Connor, Tyler Gibson right now, Mike, you got to be real careful, because not only are you holding shape in the midfield right now because you're trying to chase goals here. Andrew Carlton, Ilya Illich coming on. Also sitting on the yellows when these counters come. No longer can you get into those situations where, you know, a little knock, quick little tackle, a little professional foul. How do you do when you go about your ways? Drew Connor already teetering on that line right now.
Slide in, and again, Torrey Penso unrepentant. Hackshaw. Header down, left something to be desired. It's right back up the middle. Carlton. Sweeps this into the wide area. Can Indy find a lifeline here? Gibson. Howarth paddling away, and Cicerone took it back. So far, so good for Cicerone out wide. There's room here for Pasher.
Oh, you got to be on the stretch. Come on.
Indy foul. This time Drew Connor. St. Louis play this quickly. Missile not quite reached the penalty area, and Newton steers it aside. Trying to dice the middle of the field. Carlton goes down. There's a free kick. Wall fall. Trying to conjure up an understanding of this.
It's a foul. He gets bodied for sure. Again, a little bit behind here and almost gets himself into trouble, Andrew Carlton, because he and Ilya Illich didn't actually shout for who was going to step into it. Beautiful first touch by Andrew Carlton, though, allows him to continue on with the play. And Wallfall just always willing to throw his weight around, understandably so. Gets himself in trouble. It's an area that, due to the distance from goal and the angle, you know, would they let Patty Bauer have one? Probably not. This is most assuredly going to be up in the air, but stranger things with Carl Howarth on the ball.
Howarth pings it ahead, back post, sliding effort. Nick Moon close to sticking his toe on that, perhaps tapping it in.
Beautifully weighted by Carl Howarth, enough spin to get it outside. Nick Moon needs a bit more explosion here, trying to dig down deep, and look, the outstretched leg, he's right there. Really impressive play from Indy 11, just couldn't get on the tail end of it.
Can they break through? Adewale. is going to go into the book. Adewale gets a card, and meanwhile St. Louis has a player down back behind. Everyone's racing forward, and players still down here for St. Louis.
A yellow card caution has been issued to St. Louis FC.
Todd Wharton saying no. He doesn't want anybody that he wants to get up.
69 minutes.
There's a little challenge before that leads to this knock that allows Carl Howarth to step in here. And, you know, voices of concern coming from both sidelines at this point in time. You know, 20 minutes to go, Mike. Got to find a way to stable your emotions a little bit here.
We've had 7 total yellows now at this point. Wharton back up after imploring the 4th official for help. Howarth. Collision in air. And Morton collects. Score the winning goal at Maryville with personalized education, nationally ranked academics, Division II athletics. Learn more at maryville.edu. Maryville, many connections, one you. Zilich. This driven. How many more balls are going to end up flying into that alternate field?
Feel free to go sit back there. I'll let you shag. Target practice. I'll ping a couple over top just for fun.
Devin, I think you're dogging your own ability to score, because if you're hitting them that far.
No. I'll hit the frame, and I'll hit it from distance. I'll tickle the nylon for sure, but just for fun. You know, it's one of those ones, Mike, go get this one, and then I'll send another one 40 yards to the left.
Sure. I could use the exercise.
Cheaper than a gym.
Moon. Tried to curl that one. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr from Fenton, Missouri. St. Louis came into the night a point beneath Indy 11 for the second playoff spot in what's been a hugely competitive Group B right from the jump. Indy had a significant lead and a 5-game homestand that many thought allowed them to seal up a playoff position, but it hasn't been the case, including a loss on Wednesday night. And it opened the door for the St. Louis side, who will fold at the end of the season, a chance to sneak into the playoffs. They need a win to do so. A draw tonight wouldn't be enough. So Indy needs 2 goals to get back in this thing. Moon lifting. And again, St. Louis cleaned this away. Positive step there for Indy 11. Net getting forward, ball crossed, knocked out for a corner. All the while we're nearing a hydration break that could spur one of these teams on to a late wind. Service. Tori Penso looks in, shaking her head no. And Howarth crashes, beg your pardon, Hackshaw. Back of the player inadvertently.
He's trying to lead into a shoulder charge on probably the only player he might lose a battle to in Wall Fall. And the two of them linking up, his momentum carries over into Todd Wharton. And this is one that, you know, from those set piece opportunities, Mike, they love to go with the short corner where you can get Carlton, Pasher, and Iose in there. The problem is Iose obviously hasn't made an appearance, not in the 11 either. Hackshaw just leaning into that challenge the entire way. It's definitely not a foul. With just inside 17 minutes to go, barring the added extra time. Where's the identity for Indy 11 going to come from? Because they don't really have one right now.
And can they break through here? From the edge of the 6, not once, but twice, they look there for Howarth. Comes out to bar it. St. Louis continues to put their body on the line, and in the end, it's grabbed by Morton. Great distribution. G taking on this back line. There's a runner arriving. Greg plays it back. And this curled high and wide by Cicerone. There aren't a lot of people here, but those who were would have erupted.
You can see this thing develop from miles away. Just acres of space on the far touchline. Again, Indy trying to press to get at least one back. Cicerone going top bins there. Couldn't pick it out. Evan Newton off the line. You're going to get a couple little moments like this if you're St. Louis FC. Remember, you don't need to chase them, though. 15 minutes to go, up 2. This is more about maintain your defensive presence, apply just enough pressure to push Indy 11 off. You cannot sit back the entire time. Indy really good at breaking teams down in tight spaces.
Peel for a handball once again. Bank when and how you want with mobile banking, online banking, with bill pay, and access to over 1,900 ATMs across regions, 15 state service area. Done by Greg, more sand. During the hydration break, we'll give you an update about what's going on around the USL Championship right now, because there are matches of playoff significance continuing on ESPN Plus alongside this one. Adewale. Carlton. Indy searching. They need 2 goals here for their season to continue. Moon. Hackshaw. Gibson. Pasher charges in. Pasher collects again. Sam went down to get a piece of that. Everybody defending now for St. Louis FC. Carlton goes down, and again the referee says not a penalty. Carlton now forehead to forehead with another player. And at this point, this Indy 11 bench supremely aggrieved. Was that the spark? Is there more to come here? This ripped out. It's a throw.
This is a pen, Mike. It's simple enough. Watch Andrew Carlton. Little snake move in between the two of them. He's got the touch out in front. It's in from behind. He gets taken down here. Bottom line, it's a penalty. It's inside the box. There's enough of a knock to him. Crew misses that one.
A winner goes to the postseason. A draw benefits Indy 11. Throw here for Nick Moon. If they can get one before the hydration break, could that change the momentum? It would certainly put everybody on the edge of their seats late. Wharton sends it into space. And a significant shoulder charge from Greg. We met, took the brunt of it. Right in front of the 4th official.
It's a foul. I don't know where the argument's coming from these guys. Watch this. 100%. It's a shove, a forearm, everything that you could ask for Christmas. It's just not wrapped.
We've reached the hydration break, and Andrew Carlton is still arguing his case to Tori Penso, but no VAR. There's no way to reconsider. It's a painful moment for Indy 11, but not one that's officially defining yet. There's a lot going on around the USL Championship right now, and this is not the only game with significance. There are other seeding battles not just to get in, but who finishes 1, who finishes 2. We do have a result from that Pittsburgh game that has just now changed that graphic.
I think about the fact that, okay, it's St. Louis FC's most likely their last home game. Now, there's still chances that that could totally change. Could be their last game. They can say thank you, by the way, because it seems like love is in the air. Albert Diqua, former St. Louis FC man, scores the game winner in the 92nd minute for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to give them 3 points. You know, it was looking pretty gray there for Bob Lilly's squad for a minute, that maybe this would be easy pickings for Hartford Athletic, but not the case. Hartford Athletic will need to go on the road against Red Bull 2 and get 3 points to ascend to the top of that group.
There's a lot of action that's percolating right now in the championship on this final weekend. Louisville now shaved to a 2-1 game. That's in the 82nd. If Louisville holds on and the Tampa Bay-Charleston result remains as is, Louisville City should be the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And as of now, they would be hosting Hartford in the first round of the playoffs, but if Hartford wins tomorrow, they would host Pittsburgh. Harris G making this run in behind. Barrett nods it back, picked up by Newton. All eyes on this right now. For St. Louis, it may have looked hopeless last weekend when they fell to Lou City. Indy failed to seal the deal Wednesday night. They cracked the door and St. Louis has busted it down thus far with a long way to go. Moon tipped away with Carlton streaking through. Pointing, it is a penalty. It is a penalty right at the edge of the penalty area. Nick Moon has given Indy 11 a lifeline. And maybe, just maybe, there's an element here of ball don't lie from the previous instance.
It's
Pasher
really,
wants to go.
Really, really close, Mike, and you can call it a makeup call, call it anything that you want. It's right inside the 18. It's really close. Almost too close to tell. Look at the touch. You see where the ball is, but look where the body is.
Pasher to get one back. Tyler Pasher grabs his 10th of the season. Indy is a goal away from making the playoffs against all odds.
Inside or out, it doesn't matter. Tyler Pasher and that magical left foot inside 10 minutes to go. He gets them back to within 1. Both goalkeepers guess right. Both times the height given by the spot taker proves the point to put them out in front.
One would imagine we've got about 12 to 14 minutes to go, including the stoppage time. Yellow cards, hydration break, and 2 penalties in this second half. Much to consider for the 4th official.
Indy 11 goal scored by number 14, Ilya Illich, in the 82nd minute.
G. Moon wins it back for Indy 11. And he begins his field-long sprint with Wallfall in hot pursuit. Slot out Illich. Taken away by Adewale. Indy 11 were projected to be a team competing for a championship this year. Their Eastern Conference final run really didn't feel out of place in 2019. They need another goal to do it, and in doing so, put St. Louis to the sword.
Easy, yeah, Drew Carter's got to be smart here. He's on a yellow. And well done by Ilya Illich to step in there. High emotions for sure. just recognized, though it hasn't been the most impressive performance tonight from Indy 11. They're right there. That's all Martin Rennie asked of. Provide yourself a few moments down the stretch to get to it. Remember, just to recap, St. Louis FC have to win this game. The 11 don't have to deal with the same outcome. All they need is one more. They get a draw out of this and they move on. St. Louis FC will be done.
Carlton, Moon, the overlap. Hackshaw slid out, corner to this very provocative side on set pieces. Indy 11 has the size to make this extraordinarily difficult. Carlton, excellent ball, got to the backside, takes a deflection, another corner. Teasing all the way and just out of the reach of Morton.
And they're starting to try and open up some space, and they play quick for Neviel Hackshaw. Watch him.
Howarth toward Illich. This will roll out, throw. Carlton steps back onside, but the service comes across to the back post. This got out, goal kick. Oh, these next 5 minutes in stoppage time. They're nervy for the fan, but for the player, I imagine the adrenaline is overwhelming.
It's sometimes hard to keep your thoughts really focused in, Mike, and that was a sequence for Indy 11 that you really saw it play out probably in the wrong manner. Yeah, they get service into the box, but you're trying to find the big bodies, and in back-to-back plays, you fail to pick out guys like Carl Ouimet, Paddy Bart, or Neviel Hackshaw. Slow your thoughts down just a little bit, and that doesn't mean in terms of game rate, just stay composed. It's really easy to let your emotions override your thoughts. The champions always find a way to not only get another gear, but stay calm in doing so.
Gibson gets it ahead. Andrew Carlton works once again, the halftime substitute. Nick Moon. Carlton dances, fires, deflected. Indy 11 corner. St. Louis has been on their heels now for the past 10 minutes. They concede the penalty, brings it to within one. Hasher here serving, an equalizer will put them in playoff position once more. Hackshaw humming out, Morton goes over the top and gets a pat on the back there from Illich.
A great job by Kyle Morton. Neviel Hackshaw probably would have served better to let this ride and allow Andrew Carlton to bring it down, or even knock it back across. Would have had more velocity when he knocked it back into the mix, and Kyle Morton just plucks it out of thin air.
Moon. Here comes Indy again, reloading. Slipped ahead, Illich. Pedaling away at this, Fink combining with Kavita. Another corner, and if you're St. Louis,
Trainer, let's go.
any break would be welcome, and they force one here. There is a sub. Rather an injury. Pointing toward the touchline. Will they get a substitute in or simply check on the injured player?
Todd Wharton behind the scenes down once again. Remember, he got whacked around midfield and just inside anyway, in front of the fourth official.
So it means St. Louis is without one player here. Wharton, the set piece. Get over the first defender. Wharton waiting to come back on. Barrett. Contact there with Kavita and Barrett.
A boatload of corners coming down the stretch here, Mike, where haven't been able to get anybody on the end of them. It's not exactly their MO, right? They're usually so good at finding that back post run, Indy 11. Either go direct to goal or knocking one back across. Thought maybe the pocket was picked once again of Neviel Hackshaw.
Next goal here almost assuredly a backbreaker and a season ender. Right now, St. Louis would be in. Pending tomorrow's Hartford result, St. Louis would go away to Pittsburgh for the first round. But a lot can change. Moon. Hackshaw floats it forward. Hasher forces a corner off of Fink. Does St. Louis have enough in the tank? Carlton. Again short. Gibson. Chaotic moments. Carlton crossing, got off the top of the net and out. As we head into stoppage time, it's presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resources needs.
Tactics are out the window. We can get rid of that card. 4 minutes to go. The thing you would question coming down the stretch here is Indy 11 have really resided themselves to the most part of allowing St. Louis FC to sit, moving their line slowly up the field, and not a lot of transitional play for the most part. A couple looks here and there, but you know, they're just kind of bouncing it outside, a little walkabout, nonchalant, and then knocking it into the box. And the better look is to speed up the rate of play, go after someone like this.
Moon, another slide. It's a goal kick.
Substitution for St. Louis FC.
Substitution brought to you by Cigna.
Number 7, Todd Wharton.
Todd Wharton comes out. He's been dealing with knocks throughout.
Seven by us. Yeah, 7 by us.
In comes Joaquin Rivas, the player for El Salvador's national team. Dealt with a knee injury last year, only played 6 games. Makes his 13th appearance in 16 for St. Louis this year.
Number 11,
he was fantastic tonight, Todd Wharton. Really efficient on the ball, held shape in the midfield. Loved everything that he did for Steve Tritsch's squad.
Foul, Barrett. Free kick, St. Louis. St. Louis will take their time. Throws St. Louis. For fans here, is this a second trip to the playoffs in franchise history? Right on the cusp of the end. Gaia Bend carries this into the corner. A push there from Ouimet. More time off the clock. For Indy 11, is this a staggering fall from grace? There's so much anticipated from them this year. St. Louis will try and take every tick off the clock they can. Throw for Indy. If they get a goal and a draw, they're through to the postseason. And they load up. Everybody forward now in the final minute. Rolls up to Moon. Carlton drives. There's Morton.
That might do it. That could be the last of it right there. You might be able to get on the end of one of these and not get back in one more time, only because of the delay. on the foul in the corner just a moment ago, but you're looking at probably 15, 20 seconds tops.
Last chance here for Indy 11. Push there, foul, free kick St. Louis. It's going to be overwhelming disappointment for Indy 11. A night where you wish this stadium could be packed. Corey Penso allowing this to play out. Throws St. Louis. Wallfall asking for this to be done. Into space, Greg.
Oh, smartly done. How beautiful was this?
More Sam. And St. Louis FC lives to fight another day. It was win or go home, and they are going to the postseason. St. Louis, you will have an October to remember.
St. Louis FC 2, Indy 11 1.
Steve Tritchu genuinely believed this was possible. He genuinely thought Wednesday night this is how it would go. Tonight's man of the match presented by Pleats Cleaners. Wallfall, the game-winning goal from the penalty spot. You can follow St. Louis FC on Twitter to vote in the Pleats Man of the Match fan poll. Devin, we've got another week for St. Louis, for Indy. Simply shocking.
Yeah, it's definitely not the way that Martin Rennie and Indy 11 wanted things to go, but look at the positive for St. Louis FC. They will live to fight another day, and it's courtesy of Wallfall. We'll get into it. Highlights and stats, Mike.
Edward Jones presents tonight's final score. St. Louis FC 2, Indy 11 1. St. Louis FC clinch a playoff spot at the death. So long. Post-game coming up.
That's life. And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stomping on your dreams. Wait, and if I didn't think it was worth one try, I'd jump right on a big bird, and then I'd fly.
Do you think he's ready for a debit card?
Mm-hmm.
He's on a roll.
Mm-hmm. The Greenlight app and debit card makes it easy to manage your kids' money and brings you peace of mind.
He has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
With Greenlight, kids form smart money habits that prepare them for their futures.
Did you know about this?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Greenlight, all the tools you need to raise financially smart kids.
And this is how it ends in Fenton, Missouri. There are a handful of fans in this building. It would have been packed to the gills tonight. Alas, St. Louis doesn't get that sense of euphoria, but they do go through to the postseason nonetheless. 2-1 winners over Indy 11, who are sent home in simply stunning fashion. With Bevan Kerr, Mike Watts, it's hard to put images like this into words.
And the billowing smoke is something that we've always seen from the St. Louligans, and weren't exactly sure how that was going to finish off tonight, Mike. It does end in a well-earned victory for St. Louis FC, and let's go all the way back. Kickoff 7:30. Let's run it back 2 hours and 4 minutes later. What does it look like? Well, it actually started for St. Louis FC in the 35th minute. It's not a press. There's a bit of pressure going on the far side. Kyle Gregg gets a deflection off Hackshaw. He gets in behind. Tyler Blackwood sticks this one in the bottom corner, and they're out 1-0. Couple chances, by the way, and most importantly, it was just before halftime. I said, watch the momentum. They were the aggressor at the start of the second. Wall fall. He netted 5 and was one of the biggest talking points coming in to 2018 for Anthony Pulis. He only grabs 2 this year, but his second one would be extremely important. Still things to play. Andrew Carlton taken down. It's a penalty. They don't get it right. 82nd minute. Speed things up a little bit. Little 1v1 right at the top of the 18. Nick Moon taken down. They point to the spot. Tyler Pasher, ever steady all year long, gets them back within 1, but it would be too little, too late. St. Louis FC gets 3. They will move on.
Highlights were brought to you by Louisa Foods. And this is what the bracket looked like coming in. Pittsburgh has won. It means Hartford needs to win tomorrow to maintain that on the left side of the bracket. Devin, this is going to be a wild next 24 hours before we actually know how this thing will end.
Yeah, as it sits right now, St. Louis FC, guess what? Kings Cup. They're going to travel to Louisville City again, 2 versus 1. Now, again, other way around. You don't know how it's going to work out because of the fact that they finished in, but a good chance that now they might have that luxury. They could go to Hartford, and you could get another Kings Cup in the second round. There's just so much going on, Mike. Most importantly, if you're a St. Louis FC fan, you've given yourself another shot at life. What that looks like, you'll find out in about 24 hours.
So Indy drop out, and here are the images. Our thanks to all those in St. Louis as we look forward to the playoffs. Bill McDermott, Tyler Tetzlav, the coaching staff, the players for all their effort over the course of this year helping us through the broadcast, and all the best to the Louligans, some of whom got to experience tonight. Once in a while it can be said that the best thing to say is nothing at all. Sam Fink speaks now, but when he looks at the great moments in St. Louis FC history, all he has to do is watch.
See you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, or talk to PJ. PJ knows it. Yeah, I will.
Tonight we're proud to present the first season ticket for St. Louis FC to the St. Louigans. The first season ticket's ceremonial for every franchise, and for us to give it to them, I think, really shows how committed they are to us and how committed we are to them.
Hunter's corner kick inside the penalty area. Yes, it's there! The late arriving Brandon Barklage. A wonderful goal for St. Louis FC.
Continuing still. Has runners coming, fires it across, header is in, Kyle Gregg!
Hilton lofts up towards Fink, the header on the back post! And that might just seal the victory for St. Louis FC. Kyle Gregg gets it. Now Gregg with a chance, and Gregg buries it for STLFC. Oh, dangerous opportunity still for STLFC, and it's Kyle Gregg, his second of the night.
Can't tell you how much I appreciate all you guys do. You are such a big part of soccer in St. Louis.
Calais Street, and the substitute Deekwa, leaving it for Lewis. Hilton scores! And might that just be the goal that sends St. Louis FC into the Western Conference playoffs?
as Hilton can now take the corner. Delivery here with pace.